Hi everyone, as you can see I'm not in my sewing room today. I'm actually at the store because I want to show you some things on the XJ2, which I don't have. I have the XE1 with the upgrade, but there's some neat stuff in the sewing part that I thought you might like to see, so let's go ahead and let's do that. Okay, so here we are on the main screen of the Stellaire 2 XJ2, or if you have a Stellaire 1 XJ1, then you, with the upgrade, you can do the same thing. So I'm going to go into sewing, and in the sewing menu there is down here a menu called S. And if you look at these, they basically have an H which stands for hand stitch, so it really is not officially a Sashiko design embroidery stitch, but it looks like one. So we have a couple of different ones to choose from. This one is actually a couching one. This one is one of the hand stitch stitches that are in here. So I'm going to go ahead and push the question mark and pattern explanation. And it says on here, hand look quilting. This stitch pattern is made up of several short stitches. Sew this stitch pattern using transparent nylon thread or lightweight thread with the color matching the fabric for the upper thread to give your project the look of hand sewing. So that's what we're trying to do with this. So it's telling us to use the J foot, but I went ahead and I put this new N foot on here. Maybe I should try it with the J foot and the N foot and see which one works better. And I did get some black fabric and put some batting underneath it that we can play around with this a little bit. I also have some black thread and some transparent what they call smoke, like a gray transparent thread or dark black, so that it doesn't show on the black fabric. So I'm going to move the camera just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, and we're going to see what we can come up with. Okay, so as I said before, I have some black fabric with a little bit of batting. I have my N foot on here, and I have the see-through nylon thread on the top, and I've got just plain white bobbin thread on the bottom. So now I'm going to just put my foot down and I'm going to start to sew. It seems to take a long time because it's doing almost like a really small satin stitch on the top, and it's pulling up the bobbin thread to create this hand stitch look. The tension is very tight. The machine sets it at 7.0, which seems a little extreme, but that's what it needs to pull that bobbin thread to the top. So don't mess with your tension. Okay, I'm going to stop it and cut the thread. And it seemed to pucker it just a little bit, but I like it. I think it's a really kind of an interesting looking stitch. It would be really fun to put on a decorative bag or something to make it look like you did some hand stitching, or you could put it across a quilt. That would be really pretty too. So I'm going to move my I want to make sure that this invisible thread can sometimes be a bit of a pain because it stretches a little bit. So I want to make sure that it's down and under the foot here. I'm going to choose this number 2 stitch that's on the same menu. And then let's choose the number 3 stitch that's on this, or number 4, I'm sorry, number 4 stitch that's on the same menu, and see what it looks like. taking a little longer than the other one, so maybe it'll be thicker. It is a little bit thicker. Let me show it to you so you can see it. So this one in the center is the number 4. This one was the number 2, and the first one was the number 3. So that's the difference, the way they look like that. So I'm putting the J foot on the way the machine is actually telling me that I should be using the J foot instead of the N foot. So I just want to see, for experimental purposes, if the J foot does a better job. I don't know. I think it looks pretty much the same with the J foot as it did with the N foot. Maybe it feeds it a little bit better. But there's what the Sashiko stitches look like. And just remember, they're going to be in the S menu, and they'll say hand stitching on them. So let's try some of those tapering stitches that are in there. Okay, let's go back to the main menu here. And here's the tapering stitches right here. And you can see that it shows different kinds of stitches you can do that will taper to do a decorative stitch. This one with the flower looks a little weird if you ask me. This one here is kind of fun. I like this one too. So let's choose this one. It's got little X's on it. And then let's see. Push that. Tapering is on. What degree do you want to choose? Let's do 45 degrees and say OK. And then the end, I want to do 45 degrees at the end too. So you choose how it tapers and where it tapers at the end. Ending style. Let's see, what does T do? Tapering will be stopped after the specific number of repetitions. Oh, so you can tell it how many times to repeat. I think that's kind of neat. Then I can decide what size box I'm going to make. And it shows right here how many times it's going to. And if it's in this one, then please press the reverse stitch button to stop when you're ready to stop. So if you know how big it's going to be, you may want to push T, push this one so that you can put in how many times, or you can just leave it here and push the reverse button, and they have a picture of the reverse button to know when it's going to do the actual tapering for what you want. And I put 45 degrees on both of these. So let's go ahead and just sew it out and see what happens. Okay, this one does tell you to use the N foot, so that's the foot I'm going to use, and I'm going to put it down. I put some pink thread in here just for fun, and I'm going to push the start stop button and let it start stitching. And then I'm going to hit the reverse button, and it should taper down and stop. Now when it stops and the needle's down, that's my opportunity to lift the fabric and turn it a full 45 degrees the other direction with the needle down so it doesn't move. And so when I put the, sorry about that, I goofed. And when I put the foot down, it should start in the exact same spot with the same 45 degree beginning and ending. And if you want to make a perfect square, I think adding the exact measurement is a good idea so that you don't end up in the wrong spot. I didn't think about that until just now. Now I'm going to pick it up and move it again. Turn it this way. I keep pushing the wrong button for pivoting. We're going to go about halfway and then hit this. I probably am in the wrong place, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Lift it again, and we're going to do it one more time here. Yes, I definitely would have used the other one where you put in the amount of times you wanted it to repeat if I thought about this before. Because now I don't know where to push it to the reverse button. I'm going to hit the scissor button, and then I'm going to show you this little square that I just made with the tapering. Isn't that pretty? I really like that. I think that's a good idea, especially if you were doing like a quilt label or something, you wanted to have a pretty border around it. I think that was pretty good. Okay, before I go, I want to show you something. I've had a couple different kinds of questions from some of my viewers, so I'd like to answer one in particular. I have created this. Obviously, I am in Design Center. It's just a simple little flower. I'm going to hit Preview. Okay. Now, if I save this in the memory, it's still going to save this as an artwork. It is not going to save it as an embroidery design. I don't want to do that unless I'm going to just save it in the sewing machine so I can bring it back and work on it a little bit more. But if I hit set, okay, now it is an embroidery design, and I can save that to a stick. So if I want to save it to a stick instead of save it to my sewing machine, I'm going to push memory, and then I'm going to push the USB port. Now it says I don't have USB ordered. Okay, let's do this again. Memory, USB. Now it's saving it to the USB stick, and it's in the memory. Okay, so let's say that I save it to memory again, and this time I'm going to put it in the sewing machine. Okay, so now I'm going to delete it. Now, if I want to bring it out of the sewing machine memory and I hit the sewing machine, here's the designs that I have saved in this machine right now. If I'm getting full and I have way too many things in here, what I can do is I can take it like this and I can set it down and then save it to my stick from there. That works, and that way that will transfer it out of my memory and into my stick. But then what do I do about the ones that I already have in my machine memory? Let's get rid of some of those. So the way that I do that is, see this little thing down here in the bottom? I'm going to hit that, and it's going to say select all or select none. I can select one of them at a time like this, or I can say select all, and it'll select all of them, and I can delete them just like that. They're gone. They're not only in my sewing machine anymore, and I have made more room for more designs in there. Now I'm going to go home and go into embroidery. I want to find that design that I saved on my stick. So I'm going to go into the stick. And brother, what it does is it makes, when you save something from your sewing machine directly to a stick, it makes its own little pocket that's called the B pocket. I used to think it meant the back pocket. It actually means brother pocket. But regardless, that's where anything I save from a sewing machine is going to be. Here's the design I just saved. Now this is not a PES, it's a sewing machine format, which I can't remember what the format is from the Stellaire. But it works, and I can put it in my machine anytime I want to from my stick. If I try and take it from this machine and put it in a lower line brother machine, it probably won't be able to find it because it won't read that format. But I can bring it into my PE Design 11 software, and I can bring it back into this sewing machine. So, and if I bring it into the PE Design 11, I could change the format to PES and then put it in another sewing machine. So I could do that if I want to. So hopefully that clarified things a little bit on getting designs from your machine to a USB and back into your machine again. Okay, so I hope you thought that was kind of fun to look at some of the stitches that are in the new XJ2. I love the tapering stitches, and there's a wide variety of ones for you to use. And the Sashiko designs are really kind of fun. I'm definitely going to try and make something with that. And maybe I'll show it to you in a future date as soon as I figure out what I'm going to make. But I hope that was informative for you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.